The more I do street photography, the harder it gets, and that's probably because over time our standards keep rising. What once felt like an accomplishment, capturing an interesting subject or nailing a composition, now just feels like baseline. This year I've been way more critical of my work and therefore way more aware of the nuances that separate a good photo from a great one. And I don't think that's a bad thing, it's just part of the creative process, but it can also be pretty challenging. I love this quote from Ira Glass about the gap. Nobody tells this to people who are beginners. I wish someone told me. All of us who do creative work, we get into it because we have good taste. But there is this gap. For the first couple of years, you make stuff, it's just not that good. It's trying to be good, it has potential, but it's not. But your taste, the thing that got you into the game, is still killer. And your taste is why your work disappoints you. It's going to take a while, it's normal to take a while. You've just got to fight your way through. And I think that gap doesn't close when you improve, it just shifts. The more I practice, the better I get at identifying what works and also what doesn't. And for the most part, what I create still falls short of my vision. And the thing with this is that street photography really amplifies this gap because it's so unpredictable. You can't plan for the perfect moment and you have to be ready to react to see something extraordinary. And even then, you might not capture it the way you thought. This is often where people talk about the Dunning-Kruger effect. Early on in any creative pursuit, we tend to overestimate our abilities. Especially in street photography, it's easy to get a lucky shot as a beginner and think, yeah, I've got this figured out. But as you grow and gain experience, you start to see the bigger picture. You become aware of the nuances you didn't notice before. The subtleties of light, timing, composition, but more importantly, storytelling, meaning, intentionality. Suddenly, what once felt like you had it figured out, now just feels like the beginning of a very long road ahead. This realization is obviously pretty humbling and also uninspiring, but I also think it's a sign of progress. If you've noticed the Dunning-Kruger effect and perhaps a little bit of naivete and overconfidence in your work early on, don't see this as a problem. Just see this as a sign that you're evolving. Being aware of the Dunning-Kruger effect is actually a really good thing. As I think about this stuff more and more, I find that the most important piece to this great puzzle of creativity is our taste. Your taste is the filter through which your ideas pass. It determines not just what we create, but why and how. Taste can be shaped by personal experiences, influences around you, and even quirks of your personality. I'm sure the old nature versus nurture argument has something to do with this as well. To keep it simple, I think taste is the reason why you gravitate towards certain moments or colours or shapes or styles and aesthetics over others, because your taste says so. And if that's true, then how do we improve our taste? But I also don't know if you could consciously be aware of your taste getting better, because it's pretty subjective. That's like asking someone why the colour blue is better than the colour red. There isn't really a correct answer to that question. But I do think you can at least be aware that the gap exists between your taste and the work you're producing. Honestly, talking about this stuff and thinking about the gap or your taste or the Dunning-Kruger effect too much could be why many people quit and they don't want to carry on, because they hit this almost wall of self-awareness too soon. And yes, it's not that inspiring. But then I also like the idea that these feelings are normal, and that's also part of the creative process. And if you can push through it, your work will begin to reflect your ambitions. And maybe we're not meant to close the gap entirely. Maybe the gap is what keeps us chasing improvement, or at least trying to strive for something better. I hope you've had a great year, and I look forward to seeing what we can make in 2025. I'll see you on the street.
Let it spark, get lost in the art, dreaming of better living, sinning where does it start? Young kids gotta learn, still follow your heart. The negativity starts, but you stick to the plot. Some days are the best.